What's up, YouTube? Want to do a video today on this will probably be a couple part series, but basically on home defense. This first video I'm going to do is basically on having a plan for home defense, and basically what I want to cover is just different aspects of home defense, when and what you do in those situations or whatever, and they're so dynamic. Each situation is different, so you can't just say this is what I'll do, because every shooting is dynamic and every shooting is different. So basically, I just want to kind of generalize of a plan. But first and foremost, I think a plan is 50% of the equation. I mean, having the gear is 50%, but having a plan is the other 50. I think it's equally important having a plan and having the equipment, because if you have equipment with no plan, I mean, really, it's kind of a recipe for disaster almost. So basically, where I want to start is just having. I can't stress a house alarm enough. You know, if you don't have a house alarm, you should really look into it. There's some really affordable options now. Some of the plans as low as like $25 a month or something like that. So, I mean, most of us blow more than that a week at Starbucks, and I feel it really helps fortify your home defense plan. It basically gives you early warning. And also, if you get one and they wire it right, you'll have like a panic button. You should have a panic button in your bedroom, because most break-ins are probably going to occur at night. Either while you're away and you're not home, or at night, when you're sleeping. So I would say part of your plan should be a home alarm system. So basically it'll set it off if someone comes in your door, breaks your window, whatever, tries to make entry into your home. If they do, and it doesn't go off for whatever reason, or you hear something downstairs, you have a panic button, so you don't have to sit there and try to make a phone call to 911, explain everything, what's going on, what your address is, everything like that, to get responders on the way. You have a panic button, you can hit it, hold it down for whatever, and it goes off, and at least alert the alarm company, to alert the PD or whatever. And generally they respond to those because it's manually pressed, so that usually some PDs or SOs won't respond unless they can verify that there's someone in the house or something like that. So usually that'll get them to respond, because you physically pressed it, and they can tell you, hey, somebody physically pressed that panic button. It wasn't just a false alarm, a motion sensor or something that your dog set off or whatever. So really want to cover house alarms. Like I said, look into them. There's quite a few out there. Do some research, read some reviews. But if you do get one wired in, you should definitely have a panic button, usually by the front door, and usually like in your bedroom, because that's where you're probably going to be when something happens. Whether someone try to force their way into your house, when you answer the door, which is a whole other subject, as far as opening the door for somebody, or in your bedroom. Another thing is dogs. They're a great early alert system. A lot of criminals, hardened felons and stuff, aren't scared of people. No matter how big and bad or how much you puff up your chest, they don't care. You're not going to intimidate them. But a lot of them are scared of dogs. Especially good-sized dogs or whatever. So they're another good home defense system. Having just a big good-sized dog that'll bark when someone comes to the door or whatever. Especially when you're not home, someone a lot of times they'll kind of case the joint, knock on your door, kind of see what happens. Whatever. If your dogs are at the front door just going crazy, a lot of times that can be a deterrent as well. So what I also want to cover is your significant other, your spouse. They should be part of your plan, as well as your older children. And I'm not saying they should be, as far as, to train your 6-year-old, to how to run a shotgun or something like that, but they should know what to do in a situation like that. If the alarm goes off, or, if you yell out something, or, if you have some kind of code word or something like that knows, bam, this is serious. You say this word, this keyword, they know what to do. Get down, or hide in the bed, or whatever your plan may be. This should all be talked about beforehand, because you're not going to make up something on the fly that's going to be an amazing plan, because you're going to be under stress. Things are going to fall apart really quickly, and they say you can only hope to get to 70% of your training under stress. So if you've never trained, imagine where you're going to be, when stress hits, emergency situation like that. So have your spouse involved. Have them, your spouse, your wife or your husband, or whoever opposite is watching this video, should be at least, if they're not a real pro firearms person or whatever, they should at least be versed in what weapon you keep out for home defense. They should know the condition of it. They should know what it takes to pick that gun up and shoot it. If it's a shotgun, if it's got to be pumped before it's used, it can be used if you don't keep one in the chamber. If a handgun, one in the chamber, but it's got a safety. Whatever you keep for home defense, and I'll probably do a second video on basically on weapons or whatever for home defense or choices. They should know how to run that gun. And they should know how to run it pretty good. It should be second nature to them. And they should shoot it enough so under stress they'll remember how to use it. Because like I said, they'll only hope to go 70% of their training is the best case scenario. So if they maybe shot it one time 4 or 5 years ago, they're not going to know how to use it under stress. It's just how it is. So make them part of the plan. Discuss this. I know it's kind of weird to some people that don't have a kind of a pro-gun spouse. To discuss these things, some people think, oh, you're just paranoid, whatever. But really, everybody that lives in the house should be part of the plan because they're all going to be involved in some portion of it if something happens. Whether it just be getting down on the ground. If you just teach your kids, hey, if you hear a loud noise or you hear the alarm going off, get down on the ground, get under your bed. Whatever the case may be, they should be involved because you definitely don't want them running around, looking when there could be someone in your house to do you harm. That's one other element you don't want to have to deal with at that time is your young kid not knowing what to do and running into the living room or downstairs or whatever in between you and maybe a possible bad guy. So it's all things food for thought to think about ahead of time. Another thing is if you don't have to leave the room you're in, don't. I know it don't sound as cool to talk about on the internet, like, oh man, I'm going to teach you how to room clear, and you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to stage here, you're going to slice the pie, you're going to come around. Tactics with one person sucks. To try to clear a room or clear a house with somebody that's in it, that's already got the drop on you because they're hiding somewhere, so you got to, you're basically coming out, they have the element of surprise because you don't know where they're at and you're searching for them. It sucks. If you don't have to leave that room, like I said, if you don't have small children down the hall, because there's nothing in your house, property-wise, worth getting shot over, or taking a bullet for, unless it's family members. If your kids are down the hall, their bedroom's down the hall, and, alarm goes off or something, man, it sucks. You got to get that kid. You have to go out and secure that room or grab that kid, get him to your room, whatever you got to do. It sucks at that point. You got to leave your safe room, whatever, your bedroom. In those circumstances, like I said, you have to do what you have to do. If you don't have to, like I said, if you don't have small kids or kids at home or other family members, it's just like you and your spouse living alone, don't leave that room. Don't be a hero. There's nothing, hit the panic button, call 911. Have people that get paid to do that come and do it. There was a case quite a few years back in Oakland. There was Oakland PD. Cop was shot at a traffic stop and killed by a perp. Anyways, he ran to a apartment complex, whatever, was held in the apartment complex. They went in with a team, right? A stack of 5. Team trained SWAT members with all the gear you can possibly, need or imagine. The tactics, the training, seasoned officers, made entry into that house, and 3 of them were shot dead. 3. So, and that was just one guy held up in a bathtub with an AK. So those guys have way more training than you do, way more equipment than you do, way more skill and way more bodies than you're going to have, when you're doing that, because you're going to be with you or you and your spouse or whatever you got when that happens, you got, that's it. So you don't have the luxuries of a 5-man stack, when you hear a bump in the night, unless you're living in a frat house or something, you got a bunch of roommates that are all on board with it. But, generally speaking, you're not going to have, anybody, there is no backup with you right away. You're going to have to make that call, and when you need fortunately when you need cops, the next few seconds are only minutes away. How that goes. So you're who you got for that time until they get here. So like I said, my best recommendation is if you can hold up where you're at, hold up where you're at. If you lay down on the floor and you're holding your whatever home defense weapon you choose, if someone starts kicking that door to kick it in, well, it's game on at that point. Obviously they're making a have the direct means or whatever to come in to do you harm. They're obviously, actively trying to do you harm by kicking in your door. So, but if they hold up down in the shadows somewhere and you're, doing your best you can to room clear and search, and bang, you get a bullet in the, back of the head or whatever, what good are you, or even if you get shot in the leg or something, you fall over, now you're just casualty. What good are you to your family? What are you going to do to save them after you've been taken out of the fight? So, I know everybody wants to hear cool tactics on the internet, and they want to say, I do this, I do that. I'd storm it with 2 AR-15s, and I'd clear that house, and no problem. Well, I've been through trainings. I've been through single man room clearing, and it sucks. I mean, there's no real great way to do it. And even if the plan goes 100% right, you did everything 100%, doesn't mean you're going to win that scenario. There's no guarantees in it. And like I said, you can have all the tactics in the world, the equipment, whatever. I mean, look at those poor officers in Oakland. They had all the equipment, they had all the training, and they still, suffer casualties like that. That's, just horrific, And it was a one guy, 1 against 5, and 3 of them, lost their lives over that. So it's just, I just wanted to kind of do a video to basically make you aware of a plan. I mean, every plan is different, so I can't make a plan for you. If you live in an apartment, you're going to have a different plan than a guy that lives on 20 acres. You're going to have a different plan that a man and wife live alone with no kids, as opposed to a couple with 4 small children, or 2 grown teenagers. It's dynamic. It all changes. I mean, it changes with the scenario. Whatever happens. So the point of this video is basically make a plan. Make a plan beforehand and talk to your spouse, whoever lives in your house, even your kids, just talk to them what you expect of them if something happens, and whatever that may be, that's your plan. If you expect them just to get on the ground, lay low, so if, bullets have to start flying, they're less likely to be hit with that, whatever that plan may be, or whatever, I can't cover your plan for you, but just have a plan. Look into an alarm system, if you can stand living with a dog, whatever, that that should at least kind of be part of your consideration of your plan. But like I said, alarm should be real high up there. Look into it. There's some inexpensive systems out there now, but it's definitely an advantage in a scenario like that. An early warning system, as well as with a dog. So, anyways, guys, I'll do a second video. I'll cover some weapons that for home defense and the reasons, kind of pros and cons of them. What they do well, what they don't, and that'll be a second video. So this one don't run too long. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's just food for thought. Like I said, there's no real specifics in this video. It's just to get you thinking and get you talking to the people you live with. Have a plan and discuss that plan beforehand. So hopefully, like I said, you'll have a spouse that will want to hear it and not think you're paranoid and weird and whatever, because we never know. You never know when something like that could happen. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching.